Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 12 of budget crafting. Today we are going to make some corner stamps because I was requested after I did a video a few weeks ago with the postage stamps or with the corner stamps to show how to do those, and I love them. So I love making stamps, and so I thought we'll make some. And I thought while we're at it making our own foam stamps, I thought we would make cancellation stamps for our postage stamps like we did a little while back when we made these postage stamps. So a cancellation stamp to stamp them when we put them on a project. So all I have here is just a piece of fun foam. It's just kids' fun foam. This is a nicely thick piece of fun foam. The kind you get at the Dollar Tree is a little bit thinner than this. I don't know where this piece came from. It's a scrap of something. But it doesn't really matter what foam you have. Any of it will work. Any of the kids' fun foam will work. And so to make a corner stamp, all you're going to do is cut a triangle. The biggest thing is you just want to make sure that you have, you've got the actual corner that is square. Well, we're going to turn it into a triangle, but you know what I mean. We want nice straight sides. So this corner stamp, I'm going to make it, we'll go 1.5 inches. And I'm pretty sure that that line is straight. So I am going to I'm going to use this to cut it just so that I know I have a nice straight line. I'm going to come back in and do 1.5 inches. Okay, and then we're just going to cut that, and I'm not going to cut that with a cutter. I will just cut it on an angle, then we'll have enough for 2 of them. Just cut it corner to corner. There we go. And so now we'll have 2 that we can use to make our corner stamps with. Now the thing with a corner stamp is they work really great to put on corners of your projects, but they also make really nice squares when you put them together in different ways, smaller squares and bigger squares. So we're just going to make one, and all you're going to do is you're going to doodle on your stamp. And so this pen, as of when I threw it away and took it then back out of the garbage just a few minutes ago, I threw it away because it wasn't working. And then I thought, wait a minute, pens that don't work, ballpoint pens that don't work, are the perfect thing to use to make your foam stamps, because they'll make the dent that you want very nicely without dragging, but they don't leave the ink on there. If you use an ink pen that has ink in it, when you first start using it, using the stamp you've made, some of that ink may come off and transfer onto whatever you're stamping. So if you use a ballpoint pen that no longer works, then you won't have that ink coming off onto your project. Now, the only thing is that if this stays not working, it's going to be hard for you to see. But what I'm going to do kind of to start with is I'm just going to, and now it's starting to work again, of course. I am just going to first just kind of sketch. I kind of want to find my center here. So my center, I'm going to say, is right about there. I'm just going to kind of sketch what I think I want to draw on here. And then I'm going to press it down, press into the foam to make the indents to make my stamp. So just kind of giving myself some lines to go by. And again, it's just doodling. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's really hard to recreate exactly the same one. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to start just gliding over that line that I drew to make a dent. Come over here and do the same thing. You just want to make sure you don't push hard enough to rip right through your fun foam. And that's why I kind of like just go over it and over it instead of pushing super, super hard and trying to do it in just one pass. So we're just going to make that dent stay into our fun foam. And that is what's going to make the pattern. And the thing is, when you're doing these, the pattern is basically opposite. What you're drawing winds up not showing up, and the part that is left as fun foam is the part that does show up. So I always find it really interesting when I go to stamp my stamp. I find it really interesting at how it turns out, because a lot of times it does not look anything like what I think it's going to. Because right now I'm drawing this, and this is the part that's not going to show up. Okay, now I know you can kind of see that half circle there at the top, but I hadn't pushed down on it, so I need to do that. And then I think I'll maybe even put a little dot right there, and I'm just going to press down to make that dot. And I just want to make sure that these are in here really well. This foam is so thick, it doesn't seem to be pressing in as well as the thinner stuff from the Dollar Tree, but I'm sure that it probably is, and it's just because it feels different. I kind of feel like it's not working, but we're going to find out in just a minute. And you know, the biggest thing is take your time. And again, I'm going to just kind of draw what I'm thinking I want to be on here. But I'm not pressing yet. Come out to about here. The sides do not have to be the same. I kind of like to make them about the same. Do the same thing on the right side as the left side. But you don't have to do that. It's your corner stamp, and any way that you do it is correct. I think I'll put a little dot in there. And another one right over here. One more here. And one more here. And then we just have a little blank area here that I don't want to leave blank, so I am going to put a little triangle there. And this will be the last little bit, and then we can kind of see how it looks. Okay, there we go. Now I have the whole thing drawn. And the thing is that you can make I love making foam stamps. You can just make so many out of them, out of one piece of fun foam. Even a small piece of fun foam winds up being a lot of stamps. And then I'm just going to glue this right onto a piece of cardboard. And you don't want a whole ton of it so it's squishing all over the place. You just want to make sure that you kind of have the whole back covered. And don't get it on the front, because the glue sometimes acts as a resist. Grab something to put under here so you can see a little easier. There. So I've got this piece of cardboard, and I'm just going to put this right on here. Just like that. Now, when you have a stamp like this that you might want to line up and make a square out of, you want to put your stamp right on the edge of the cardboard. So as you line it up, it's the stamp that's lining up when you line up that edge of the cardboard. I'm just going to put that one on there like that, and we're going to let that sit for a few minutes and dry while we make the other one, and then we'll test it out and see how it works. Now, for a postage stamp, we just want to have a circle for the cancellation stamp. That's what it is. It's not a postage stamp. But I'm just going to kind of cut a rectangle of cardboard. And then I'm going to cut a circle. Now, the way that I cut a circle is I cut a square. And then if you start in the middle of one side and kind of aim towards the middle and look at the middle of the next side as you're going, as you start to get there, then you look to the next middle of that side. It helps to make a circle if you're just cutting it from scratch, just by hand without drawing around anything. It still doesn't necessarily make a perfect circle, but it really does. Like, I can't just make a circle any other way. This kind of helps me make a little bit of a better circle. And so you just keep looking to where you're going, and it really does kind of help. Okay, so then I've got a spot here that was kind of squared off. Now I'm probably going to make it not look like a circle at all. Okay, so there we go. Because you know how on a cancellation stamp you got the round part and then you've got all the little lines. Excuse me. So here's our round part. Oh, and it fits right on there nicely. So that's good. And then we need our little lines. So we're just going to use our little bits of scrap. And the thing is, you just want to make sure this is the top of your fun foam. When you cut your line, you want to make sure that you kind of know what the top is, because the thickness is the same thickness as this. So you want to make sure that when you glue this on, this thickness, this is glued onto your cardboard like that, so that they're the same thickness. Like this one here, this is the thickness of the fun foam, so I could glue it on like that. But if I were to glue it on like this, it'd be thinner here. See how thin it is there and how thick it is here? If I were to glue it on my paper like that, then it would not stamp correctly. And you think, well, of course you're going to, glue it the right way. But when you're cutting these little pieces, sometimes it's easy to kind of lose track of, because it's almost as wide as it is deep. So just kind of, and you can even lightly, maybe like put a little bit of a line, which that's not going to work with a pen that doesn't work. You could lightly just put a line on the top so that when you cut it, you know which part is going to go up. And that way you don't accidentally glue it the wrong way. So I'm going to do that because sometimes I always have to like really look to figure out which side is up. Alrighty. And then I'm just going to kind of make a little bit of a wavy line. And then just kind of come back in here and follow the same wavy line. Now, this would really be easier if I did it on a regular piece of foam instead of trying to use the little bits. Little bits work great to glue all over and make some really mixed media stamps. But because I want them to kind of look about the same, I'm going to use this piece. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put some lines on here. I'm going to put a little bit of color on top so that when I make those lines, I know what the top is. And I'm going this way because I'm going to cut this way, and then there should be a little bit of ink on any piece I cut. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut my first edge, not my first piece. Okay, so there we go. Now this is going to be the shape of our little thing. So now I'm going to come in here and just go in closely and just follow that line. And so that is one of my stamp lines. And I'm going to do 3 of those or 4 of those. You can do as many as you want. I'm sure that if you looked at an envelope, you could see how many there really are. But I'm just going to do it like that. I think I will try one more. Like that. And there we go. So now we've got the circle part and we've got the line part for our stamp. And now we need to make this have some kind of design on it. I'm going to just cut it a little bit smaller just because it just seemed a little bit big to me. Now remembering where, I'm going to go way too small. Remember where you put your lines, that's not going to show. It's the part that you don't mark that does show. So if you want it to look like it has words around the edge, you don't want to put dents where you want the words. You want to make sure that that part sticks up. So you can just go ahead and I'm going to put like a circle all the way around. And then that's going to have an outer circle on it where the foam has not been colored on. Just like that. Okay, and that's going to need to be pressed down a little bit better. And I am quite a bit fatter on one side than the other. So then I have to decide, do I really care? And do I want to trim that a little bit smaller? Or do I just want to leave it as wide as it is? When I get back to where I just started here, I'll kind of look at that and see what I think. Because it may take just a touch of time to do these, but when you're done, you've got your own stamp that nobody has. I think I might trim it just a little bit over here. Nobody else has this stamp, only you, and you didn't go out to the store and spend, you know, $10, $15 for it. There we go. You know, sheet of fun foam. Maybe if you just buy a sheet like this, you know, costs $1. Or you get all the little sheets from the Dollar Tree for $1. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to use this pen just as an example for you. Okay, so now let's say we want it to say something right here. And we want it to say something right here. And we want a person kind of in the middle, let's say. All right, and then maybe we want a little bit of words here and a little bit of words here. Okay, so we have words, 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 and a person. Those are the places we do not want to press down. We want to press down all around those areas, but we want those areas to stick up because that is our stamp. So then you're just going to go in and press back the area around that area, leaving that area puffed up. So I'm just going to go in and I'm just really kind of pressing and gliding across the fun foam, just trying to push it down because we're trying to, you know, we're really actually kind of trying to leave up a very small amount of foam. So, you know, it kind of takes a little while and there's a little bit of work to it. Just like if you were carving a rubber stamp, you would have to carve all this area out. But we're just going to color it out or push it back so that it no longer is sticking up and grabbing our ink. Now, might it grab our ink because there's so much of it that we're trying to push back? If you push hard, for sure. And even if you don't push hard, possibly. So, you know, like I said, and then if you stamp it and you think, well, I don't like that area that's showing, the rest of it looks good, then you just go in and push that area back a little bit more. Just like if you were carving a rubber stamp, if you didn't like an area that was showing, you would go in and carve it out. So I'm just going to go around this bottom word and this side of our person. And like I said, it takes a while, so I'm going to, so I'll let you know, and I've said it in a few videos probably by now, but we're just getting ready to go to our daughters. Let's see, this video I think might even be up while we're in Oklahoma. So we're getting very excited for that. We get to go down there and see our grandson again. And spend time with him and spend time with her. So this will be very, very fun. And I'm going to come over on this side. And I'm getting a little bit rushy here, so I'm kind of not pushing it back as well. If you have like a little spot that just kind of wants to stick up, you can push it down like this also. I'm going to just try and kind of finish this up quickly so we can see what it looks like. Oh, I had to look and make sure that it was recording. All of a sudden, I thought maybe I'm not recording. So, but yeah, so when we come back, I'll let you know how everything went down there. But I think it's a good time of year to go. The very first time that we went, I think it was in the fall, and we didn't even get to her house yet, and the tornado sirens, like our phone started screaming, there's a tornado. If you can hear this on your phone, there's a tornado where you're at. You need to get off the road. We were on a toll highway, so it was like, where do we go? We were just coming up to a toll booth, so I told my husband, pull up, pay the toll booth, and then just sit there. Don't move. So we kind of did that, and then a truck came up behind us, so we had to get out of the way. But, so we just pulled a little bit further ahead and got out of the way and sat there for a while, but that was quite scary because in Michigan we don't get tornadoes that often. And we don't usually get the kind of devastating tornadoes that people get down south. And I told my husband, if the semi-trucks are pulled over, like, you know to pull over. You know that it's a serious thing, because semi-trucks, you know, they got places to go and things to do. So they don't pull over unless, you know, you need to, then you need to. Alrighty, so this is going to be hard to see, but here's what we have. We have a little person in the middle, a word there, a word there, a word there, and a word there. And there are a few places where it kind of looks like it might be puffing back up, but we'll see. And then I can always go back in and touch it up later. We've got our little parts here, so we're just going to glue this on. Sorry. Put some glue on here. Again, it doesn't have to be super thick. It just needs to be on the whole thing to hold the whole thing down. Okay, now, normally when you see the cancellation stamps, how does that go? The round part is up here, and the lines go across. I'm trying to think, because this does have a top and a right side. The round part goes on the stamp, and then the lines go away from it. So if that's the way it's going to be, if I'm going to take this and stamp it on an envelope, if my stamp is there, I need the round part here and the lines going away from it. So the round part needs to be here. the top there so that when I do it like that, it goes on the stamp. I think that's how they go. So we're going to put that on there like that. And then I'm going to just put the glue on here. It's easier than putting it on the back of the lines because they're so skinny. So I'm just going to there we go. And then just put them on there. Kind of see if they're where I want them. Move this one down a little bit. So there we go. Press that down, press those down. And let that sit for just a minute while we try our corner stamp. So here's our corner stamp, and there is the design that I put in it. So yeah, much easier to see if I put it up here. So now we're going to see now as I'm looking at it, it looks like right here the design might have really puffed back up. So I'm going to really quick go back in and press that down. That was right here. There. I think that does it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that right along the line. Okay, and I don't have a point on my triangle right there. When I cut it, I didn't quite have one, so that's going to show up just like that. But that's okay because that just goes and shows that that is my handmade stamp. So looking to see where my masking tape is, but it has disappeared. Okay, well, we're going to just use it like it is, and then I will have to find a piece of masking tape or tape to put on it. I have regular tape here, so I'm going to show you what I do for a handle. Because they're hard to get a hold of, they're very thin, and you're going to get ink on your fingers. So I use masking tape. Right now we're going to use just regular tape because it's what I have here. So take a piece of tape, and then you take that tape and you kind of fold it in half in the middle, sticky part to sticky part, holding back a wing on each side. Push that together. Now you've got this wing of tape here, and we're going to put that wing right onto our stamp. With this being clear tape, it makes it a little harder to see, but this is what you wind up with then. You've got a little handle of tape sticking up off of your stamp. And then we'll just grab a piece of paper here. Not sure if that's totally square, but we're going to pretend that this corner up here is square. So this is a corner. Yep, that looks pretty square. And then we'll just take some, I have some distress ink sitting here, so we're just going to take our stamp. Oops. And we're just going to make sure that we get the ink all over the whole stamp. You can look at it and kind of make sure that it's getting on there. Now, if you clean this off when you're done, it'll be good for another color. If you don't, it will hold a little bit of ink that you don't stamp off or wipe off, and it will come off with your next stamping. Okay, I think we've got it. And then I'm going to put it right here in the corner. But you can just wipe it off with a wet paper towel is all you need. Ooh, that's so pretty. Or you can stamp it off. I'm going to stamp in the spot where I... Didn't really come off too much, so there it is. That is what our corner stamp turned out looking like. So they really just, I mean, they're so cool. And so if you do it again, there's 3 ways that you can use them. You can use them as a corner. You can use them as a square anywhere on your page. And then what you do is you're going to line them up. Just like that. Now this side is right here. See, if we pick it up and turn it around, then it's over here. So if you do them symmetrical like this, they will line up with a pattern. Now I'm off a little bit. I put this one over a little too far that way, but that makes a really nice square when you do it. And then you can also make a much larger square by, let's see here, I have to think. Okay, using it 4 times. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and we're just lining up the point of the triangle each time. And I'm just kind of guiding it in with my other hand because I get a little bit shaky. 4. And there we go. So you can make a corner. You can make a small square. You can make a larger square. Or you can just make a plain old square or a plain old triangle anywhere on your page. So I think that these are so versatile. And like I said, you just doodle on there and they come out so pretty, and you can make so many of them out of one little teeny tiny piece of fun foam. We're going to try this one. It's a little bit wet, but again, take a piece of tape, fold it together sticky side to sticky side in the middle, holding back a little bit on each side. I'll flip this over. Okay. So let's did I pull out? I thought I pulled out some stamps. Maybe not. Yeah, I did. Here they are. Okay, so let's go ahead and just take this one off the end. Just put a stamp on here. Just like that, pretending that this is the top corner. I'm not so sure if my foam messed up there, but it was just telling me I have lower power, so I'm going to finish this up quick and hopefully it didn't mess up. Okay, so we'll pretend that this is a stamp on an envelope. This is the top corner of our envelope. Right there. So then we'll just take our cancellation stamp and get the ink on there. Seeing if we got it everywhere. And again, when you get these on your regular letters, they never come out real great anyways, like from the post office. So we're just going to take that and we're just going to put it on there like that. Remember not to push real hard because these are foam stamps. You don't want to squash that foam and get rid of whatever it is that you've drawn on there. And there we go. So now we have a canceled letter. And just to see what that looks like just all on its own, the round part. So here's what we did. A little word at the top, a little word at the bottom, little guy in the middle with a word on each side, and then a circle around the outside. And now that it's had a little bit of ink on it, you can see a little better. The parts we did not color, the parts we didn't press back are the ones that we actually made into our stamp. So I just thought those were fun. I thought we could have this one since we had stamps. I thought we needed a cancellation stamp. Remember to put them on backwards, you know, that they go this way. That's always my hardest thing to try and remember, is to put them the right way. So, but I think that they turned out really nice. I love corner stamps. They are absolutely my favorite. But the cancellation stamps are pretty cool too, because I had wanted one at one time and I couldn't find any. So I just wound up making my own, and I've got 3 or 4 of them. Here's some other ones that I have. You know, that I just use them quite often, and I think they're just a blast to use. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate you, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.